Okay, so in the world of AI, a deal just went down that on the surface makes zero sense. It's a story that really boils down to one very simple, very confusing question.
So let's get right into the mystery. Why would OpenAI, the biggest name in AI, buy this promising little startup called Roy, only to turn around and kill it almost immediately? It sounds like a terrible business move, right? But the answer? Well, it reveals a huge strategic play that's reshaping the entire tech world.
And if you look at the timeline, it tells you pretty much everything you need to know. The deal gets announced on October 3rd. Just 12 days later, bam, October 15th, the service is gone forever. That kind of speed, that's our first huge clue that something really unusual is going on here.
All right, so to crack this puzzle, we've got to start with who's involved in this very curious deal.
So on one side, you've got the absolute giant, OpenAI, the world's most valuable private company burning through billions on infrastructure for things like ChatGPT. And on the other side, you've got the innovator, Rocky, a tiny 4-person startup with a super niche finance app and just $3.6 million in funding. It's a total David and Goliath story.
Okay, but to really get what's going on here, we have to dig into what was driving each of these companies, their motivations. That's the key to unlocking this whole thing.
For OpenAI, the challenge is, well, it's pretty simple, but also absolutely massive. Building and running these huge models like ChatGPT costs a fortune. We're literally talking billions of dollars being spent on data centers and computing power. So that creates this immense pressure to find new ways to make money, especially from consumer apps.
Now, Roai, their mission was on a totally different planet. They weren't trying to build for the masses. They were laser-focused on shaking up personal finance. And their secret sauce wasn't about more charts and graphs. It was all about conversation. The whole app was built around an AI you could talk to.
And this right here is where things get super interesting. Roy could track everything, stocks, crypto, even NFTs. But the magic was the AI companion. You could literally customize its personality. You want a formal buttoned-up advisor? You got it. You want it to have a Gen Z with brain rot vibe that roasts your spending habits? It could do that too. And the crazy part is, it learned from every single chat to get better.
And this quote from Roai's CEO, Sujith Vishwajith, just nails the core idea that got OpenAI so interested. He said that this kind of deep personalization, it wasn't just the future of finance, it's the future of all software. And that quote right there, that's the key to this whole thing. Because once you get that, you realize OpenAI wasn't buying a finance app at all, they were buying expertise. Which brings us to the one word that unlocks this entire puzzle, the acqui-hire. It's when a company gets bought not for what it makes, but for who makes it, for the people. The easiest way to think about it is like this. You're not buying the restaurant, the tables, the chairs, or the menu. You are buying the star chef. And in this story, the star chef was Roy's CEO, Sujith Vishwajith, who had this proven, almost magical talent for building these super personalized user experiences. And if you need proof of just how valuable this guy is, get this. At his old job at Airbnb, he wrote just 25 lines of code. 25 lines, and it generated over $10 million in new cash flow. That specific skill, turning tiny tweaks into massive financial wins, is exactly what OpenAI needs to make its own apps successful. So you see how it all fits together now? This whole deal slots perfectly into OpenAI's grand strategy. They build the amazing models, but that costs billions. To pay for it, they need hit apps. But in a crowded market, how do you win? You create an unbeatable user experience. And their secret weapon to do that is the deep, adaptive personalization that the Rai team had absolutely mastered. And, well, it turns out this wasn't a one-off thing. This deal is actually part of a much bigger trend that is sweeping across the entire AI industry. Yeah, just in 2025, OpenAI basically went on a shopping spree for talent. They bought teams that were experts in AI valuation, in recommendations, in coding. Rua was just the latest piece of that puzzle, bringing in that crucial personalization expertise. You see the pattern here, right? They are buying teams, not products. So why is this happening across the whole industry? Well, it really just boils down to 3 main reasons. First, there's a huge talent shortage. It's fiercely competitive. Second, speed is everything. It's just way faster to buy an expert team than to try and build one yourself. And finally, it's a strategic move to concentrate all that talent in one place and keep your rivals from getting it. Okay, so what does all this corporate strategy stuff actually mean for you? Why should you care about any of this?
Well, the expertise from Roy, think of it as their DNA, is going to get injected across OpenAI's entire product line. Imagine a ChatGPT that really, truly knows you and your preferences. Or their news tool, Pulse, giving you a briefing written in exactly the style you like. The whole goal is to make these tools feel less like static software and more like your own personal companions. And this really points to the future that these companies are racing to build. We are moving away from the AI of today, which is basically a tool that just waits for your command, and we're moving toward the AI of tomorrow, an evolving, personal companion that actually anticipates what you need and adapts its whole personality just for you. We're going from a world where we adapt to software to a world where software adapts to us. And that leaves us with one last, and maybe the most important question to think about. As these AI tools become our deeply personal companions, learning our habits, our personalities, where do we draw the line between something that's helpful and something that's invasive? It's something we'll all have to decide. Thanks for watching.